Hello, you're listening to E-Bible Fellowship's new open form excerpts, and now we present the following excerpt.
Welcome to our question and answer program. Please go ahead with your call.
Hi, Chris. Can you just take a look at Isaiah 14, verses 1 and 2?
Okay, Isaiah 14, 1, for Jehovah will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of Jehovah for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors.
Yeah, really just a simple question. I was just reading this and I was wondering who are the different groups, because I thought the strangers would be the house of Israel or the house of Jacob. But then in verse 2, you see what I'm saying? I think maybe they could be all the same, but it says the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them, the strangers, and the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids. And I got a little confused over that.
Well, we understand Jehovah will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel, which is saying the same thing, right? Because God's elect are the chosen ones, and were chosen to receive his mercy and grace, and set them in their own land, which is the kingdom of God, and the stranger shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. Yeah, it's interesting. The Lord does this at times. He'll speak of his people, and yet there's more to come, or future generations. But in this case, it's really pointing to our time of the end, and to the whole idea of the great multitude who are scattered to the four winds out there among the nations, and they are already saved. It's not that they're going to become saved. They're already saved, but the biblical language is as though they're coming for the first time, or initially, because God saved them through primarily the electronic medium in one way or another, and they made no movement. They had no time to make movement towards Christ or towards the Word, the Bible. I mean, where could they go? For the most part, they had little to no churches in their land, and that was really a blessing, because if they did have churches, they might go to them, and they can't go to any other religion. They were hearing, many of them, through family radio, listening to the true gospel, Mr. Camping's teachings, and then it shut off. It just shut off. We know the situation since May 21, 2011. There's that great multitude out there, and Isaiah 60, I think, would be a chapter that fits in with this idea. In Isaiah 60, we read in verse 1, "Arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of Jehovah is risen upon thee. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people, but Jehovah shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. And the Gentiles, or the nations, shall come to thy light, and kings to the brightness of thy rising. Lift up thine eyes round about and see, all they gather themselves together, they come to thee. Thy son shall come from far, and thy daughter shall be nursed at thy side. Then shalt thou see and flow together, and thine heart shall fear and be enlarged, because the abundance of the sea shall be converted unto thee. The forces of the Gentiles, or the wealth of the nations, that can also be translated as, and it's actually translated that way in Zechariah 14, I think verses 13 or 14. The forces of the Gentiles shall come unto thee, The multitude of camels shall cover thee, the dromedaries of Midian, and Ephah, all they from Sheba shall come. They shall bring gold and incense, and they shall show forth the praises of Jehovah. All the flocks of Kedar shall be gathered together unto thee. The rams of Nebaioth shall minister unto thee. They shall come up with acceptance on mine altar, and I will glorify the house of my glory. Now we read of the flocks of Kedar, rams of Nebaioth, sons of Ishmael. These are not identified with the church, and historically, they're not identified with Jacob or Israel. I think there's an element of that where here we are, those of us who maybe came out of the churches, we still have a kind of identification with the church, with the corporate body. And we are the ones that receive the latter rain, and the Lord used to send it forth to the nations, either through supporting family radio or going on track trips. And yet there's a different group, I think, is the point God's trying to make. There's others that are out there. It's the idea of Revelation 21, New Jerusalem, and the fullness of the city. We're told, especially through the use of the number 12. But then it says the kings of the earth will come in Revelation 21. The nations of them which are saved shall walk in the light of it. Verse 24, and the kings of the earth do bring their glory and honor into it. And there's the same thing. There's the same thing. The nations of them which are saved. Well, that's everyone. That's all the elect, right? The 2 nations are in thy womb. God told Rebekah. There's Jacob and Esau, and 2 manner of people. The 2 nations, one, the nations of the world, the other, nations of them which are saved. And here, God says, the nations of them which are saved shall walk in the light of it, and the kings of the earth do bring their glory and honor into it. That's Isaiah 60. They shall come. They're coming into it, although it's already a full city. 12 gates here, 12 of this, 12 of that. Number 12 is fullness, and everyone to be saved has been saved. That's why it's coming down from above. The city of God, New Jerusalem, all the elect were found. The lost sheep of the house of Israel were all gathered and are safe in the fold. But now it says the kings of the earth do bring their glory and honor into it. It's like a present happening, and it doesn't make sense or it doesn't make sense to us until we place over it our present situation where God has saved everyone, yet he commands us to go forth and feed the sheep in the day of judgment. And so we do, and we expect there'll be a response to the word coming to Christ. Arise, shine, for this glory of Christ will light up, and those that are saved will respond and come to him.
Thanks for watching, and be on the lookout for more new open forum excerpts that will be added periodically.